GM, everyone, and welcome to another episode of FOMO Hour. Today is Tuesday, February 17th, 2026. Folks, today's big day. It is Fat Tuesday here in the United States. Get those king cakes ready. Also, Chinese New Year begins today. It is the year of the horse, the fire horse, to be specific. Will it be enough to light a fire under crypto's lagging performance? We're going to talk about that on today's show, plus a lot more. I'll be in the hosting seat. I'm Tyler D. I've got Logan on with us here this morning as well. Logan, GM, how you doing?
Hey, good morning, Tyler. I'm doing well. We've already partaken. Unfortunately, as you know, I'm trying to do the opposite of gain weight. But Marco ran out really early this morning to apparently there's a German donut thing that's popular here in this area now that we've moved to. For Fat Tuesday. So she ran out to a bakery and grabbed us a couple. I took 2 bites and had her remove the rest for the day. Yeah. Smart
move. Yeah, I was staring at the king cakes at the grocery store yesterday. Had a bit of a fat weekend myself. I visited some friends down in Charlotte. We ate well. I had a good time down there. It was a nice long weekend. Hopefully folks enjoyed it as well. Now back at the desk. It seemed like it was a little bit of a kind of a quieter weekend in the crypto space, but now things picking back up here this morning and over the last day. So we've got some stuff to get into today. Note for Oak, you may have seen that already. He's down in Mar-a-Lago for the World Liberty Fi conference today. So very curious to hear what comes out of that. Mando, I'm sure, will be on with us shortly to talk markets, check in on some of his calls from last week. XMR, I think, performed well, but Zeke kind of came out of nowhere and passed it there on Friday. We're going to go into markets. Stocks are down, metals are down, crypto's down. It's been a rough morning across the board. It seems like the Iran situation is escalating, but recent comments say maybe not. They're kind of speaking out of both sides of their mouth right now. So we'll dig into that a little bit. Dragonfly, $650 million crypto fund. People are still putting money into these crypto VCs despite market conditions. So we'll talk about that. Harvard selling Bitcoin for ETH. Kraken's now going to be sponsoring some Trump accounts. The Logan Paul Pokemon card sale. Jeez Louise. Arguably the biggest story of the weekend for physical collectibles. We'll talk about that. And then Vitalik had a very spicy prediction market take. So we'll dig into that one as well, plus a lot more. And we'll do some ETH action as well at the end of today's show. Because folks not here, we're going to do it similar to last week, folks. We promise. Keep staying tuned. We're going to pick a winner at the end of today's show. And then on Friday, we're planning for Friday to be our mega yeet day, where we're going to have all the winners come back and we'll do probably a solid 15, 20 minutes of action. So your time is coming due. We appreciate your patience as always. And with that, I'll do my best Mando impression and kick us off with a little market report. I'm going to share my screen for those who are in the stream. Give me 1 second here. All right, let's take a look at the board. Logan, so Bitcoin, 67K, 67.1. It is down 2%. So we were hanging out around 69 most of the weekend. We pumped Friday. We were sweating the Ace Trader comp live. We had some nice volatility. Long was the position. Looks like we got up to like 71 or so over the weekend. So a decent little pump. Yeah, we went all the way into Sunday, peaked around 71K early Sunday morning. Has sold off a bit, 67, but man, it's still just squarely in the chop zone. It is really my read on this since basically the whole month of February, it seems. So we had the sell-off to kickstart February, went all the way down to 60, and now we're just kind of hanging out in this seemingly 65 to 71 range. So we'll see if anything kicks us out.
I wrote on Friday, I don't know if you saw this report from Crypto Quant, Tyler, but a lot of folks, of course, I think around Friday's timing, right, with that pump up, maybe hoping that we had found that bottom. The Crypto Quant report that I wrote about, which uses some of their own indicators like bear market indicators, as well as the realized price, which is kind of like the average price of the last time that the token transacted. They have the ultimate bear market bottom at around 55K, I believe it was. So anybody hoping for that, even amid the pump on Friday, of course, that's since eroded, but I mean, it's hard to argue with some of those other. You had the Galaxy stuff from like a week or two prior to that. It talked about like the move down to the 200-week moving average around 58K, like those being the true kind of next level support stuff. Yeah, and I got a lot of shit when I we came on here and talked about how apathetic I was, but you get this range. What did Mando say last week when we were talking about it? Maybe like he
Yeah.
could see like 6 months of this or something. Maybe I don't want to put words in his mouth, but if at least that's what I took from him, whether he said it or not. Here he comes. But that will. I mean, you gotta brace for that. That would be maybe not so fun.
6 months in the 65 to 70K range would not be that much fun. But we've got the man here live with us, Mando. GN, how you doing?
Hey guys, how are you?
Not bad. Just getting into the market report. It seems like we didn't really miss a whole lot from the long weekend. Bitcoin did pump a bit into 71, was looking good, and then we kind of just got squarely back into the range. Right. So not the most exciting price action over the last day and a half or so. I saw what Trader Main now calling for a stocks bear market. I haven't had a chance to watch his latest video. I just saw the headline there.
Oh, really?
But would love to dig into the markets with you. Anything that's jumping out here this morning?
I have to say, I look through a lot of charts, obviously every morning, and everything just turned back down again. Like across all markets right now. This isn't just a. This has been kind of weird for me to look at, but you had gold's turned down, silver's turned down, stocks have turned down, crypto's turned down. That's a very strange scenario. You don't see that often. So I still have the Monero trade that I put on, which is kind of maybe a touch lower than where I put it on so far. I put on about 336 and now it's 331, so it's now about 2%. But everything else just kind of died. That's been the only one I've kind of really kept in this environment. It really doesn't feel that good. And it's been surprising that it's like it is so macro that everything feels bad. I wasn't expecting that. Let me put it that way. So there's not one coin that I look at that is now trending up. And like even the zero, we spoke about zero, right?
Oh yeah. Gave it all back.
And more. Like it's lower than when the announcement was made.
Oh, geez,
wild.
58. Oh.
And then you have everything else selling off, and gold and silver selling off, and you have some sort of a rally in bond yields, but and the dollar. But yeah, no, not a good environment for everything else. I have to say that the one thing I was looking at to buy on a dip is Google, and that has gone now below 300, which is kind of where I said my shove level was. I am starting to buy Google.
Seems like a strong one to to withstand the volatility. So what do we have insight to drivers of the price action? So we have the Iran situation seem to be like I said at the beginning of the show. So the comments this morning with there was actually some progress with the US and Iran talks, but then at the same time, like they're both flexing. Like the US is moving aircraft and ships over to the Middle East. Now Iran sending missiles into the Strait of Hormuz. So it doesn't seem like it's resolving like perfectly by any means. So is it that volatility? Is it just still the AI overhang? Like what do we have a read on kind of what's causing this here?
You know what I mean? Like I feel like you could point to a few different things. I think the main thing has been this disruption around AI way more than this. But maybe it's this, and I'm just trying to look at the chances of a strike right now on Poly Market.
Low. I mean,
low, yeah.
fairly low.
So looks like it's probably not that.
Yeah.
And it's most probably just the AI stuff, which I kind of understand. So but the fact that everything's trending down is not normally a great sign.
If there's so much like deja vu from March, April 2025. At least that's how I feel a little bit. I know that like the setup is different. Right? It was the tariff concerns that drove us down. Then of course that led to the V shape. So maybe it's not exactly the same, but just everything's selling off here at the same time. Certainly not the most fun. Which
one thing I would say is that crypto is slightly outperforming.
Yeah.
And that is a good sign. So maybe we are in a situation where with everything looking slightly better.
Down 2% on the week.
Sorry.
With most of that move coming today. So yeah, we're just kind of flat for the most part. Yeah, Logan, jump in.
I was going to say people are a little less fearful this week, according to that number there. What was that, 5 or something like that last week?
You can only physically be in extreme fear for so long before your body just starts to normalize a little bit, and you just revert to the mean.
Yeah. This is what I was when I was referencing the crypto quant thing from earlier this week. They have like their own little bear market. It's not quite a fear and greed, but they indicated we're just in the bear phase, not extreme bear, which is when you start to get those like bottoming structures. So some extended pain still. I guess any indicator you look at least that's how it feels when you're throwing in some sentiment, at least.
Which makes the news out of Dragonfly even more interesting this morning, right? So the headline here: crypto VC Dragonfly closes their fourth fund, $650 million, even after their one of their partners went on record and called the current crypto VC landscape a mass extinction event. So I guess he was talking about for other VCs, but like this is the second one. So A16Z. Anderson Horowitz, they raised a huge fund with a large crypto component. And now Dragonfly's out here with a huge raise as well. So there's still money that is hungry to be invested in the space, just not the tokens, it seems like. So I dug into this a little bit. It looks like their primary thesis here, that crypto infrastructure, stablecoins, on-chain finance, and tokenized RWAs. The new mature crypto bet, the boring but profitable. Logan, not sure if you had a chance to dig into.
Yeah, well, I took a look at what you had sent through to me regarding the recap here, and that was exactly what I said. They're betting on boring. If you're looking at those headline categories for investment, it is all the stuff that institutional traditional finance wants to participate with, wants to grind small yields with, relatively speaking, right? It is not the on-chain stuff. It's not the fun Web3 stuff. This is, letting the real big money come in or setting it up, right? Trying to create the foundation to let real big money come in and participate on the blockchain rails. Which is what I've been saying for a while now. It feels like to me that that's where the ball is moving, and that's where the winners really will be made. It's less fun for us, of course, who are here every single day, perhaps participating or hoping to participate in consumer type things. But from at least from what you sent me, Tyler, I didn't see any mention of a consumer blockchain at all.
They're not going on consumer as much, right? Yeah, that was perhaps a bit of a surprise, but I kind of lean perma optimist. I think there's a bullish outlook here. It's a lot better than just no VC money coming in, right? Like there's still huge appetite, and even if it is infra, stables, on-chain finance, that's going to grow the ecosystem, which allows for additional winners as well. So I still think you need to be optimistic about this, even though it may not be pumping your bags directly in the immediate future. So that was an interesting one. I didn't know. I hadn't gone through Dragonfly's history, so they seed led Athena at 6 million.
Yeah, the big wins for them: Athena, Avalanche, I think, Polymarket they were involved in.
Yep.
I think they were Monad famously, but I think that's actually been like a win for them with where they got in maybe, and then
Yeah.
But there is a fund. Their fund is some blockchain infrastructure, but they've been heavy on the dApps as well. So like they've done well on that side of things, and payments. They did Rain as well, this big payments company that's like been smashing it. So I think they've done a lot better than others.
Yeah, I mean they hit some huge winners. I mean, Athena was 1,000x. Then the Polymarket Series B, I don't know the numbers offhand for Series B. And they had the chance to lead the primary seed, but they passed and then came back for the Series B. But still, massive win there. So they're clearly doing very well, and folks hungry to continue giving them more shots at it. A few of the other headlines, just more macro crypto before we go down the risk curve. I saw Harvard. Very interestingly, like they've got enough money just to be setting up their own ETH position, but basically what they did is they got up to like a $330 million Bitcoin position via IBIT in Q4, and they trimmed 20% of it to add ETH. So they sold some of their IBIT and then picked up the ETH shares, which I thought was fairly interesting. Some quotes from the folks behind this. The CIO, the CIO of Bitcoin Standard Treasury Company said they think Harvard making a relative value trade with ETH being undervalued relative to Bitcoin. So I don't know if we have direct insight into exactly why they're doing this. Perhaps the monitoring that ETH Bitcoin ratio is a part of it. It doesn't look great by any means. I was checking in as I was writing this up. This is not working. But Logan, not sure if you saw that one, had any thoughts?
Yeah, I just think it's fitting of the trend that we've been talking about, especially as it pertains to the institutional adoption of like Ethereum, right? The narrative around Ethereum for the last year, in particular, as the DAT stuff has spun up, and you've got Tom, out there shouting stuff, Larry Fink a little bit too, as well as Ben. This is the blockchain for the future of finance stuff. At least from my perspective, Harvard and its endowment and all of that sort of sits closer in proximity to the future of finance, trying to be in these more traditional rails, and so Ethereum makes sense to me there. Of course, that's all speculation on my point. I don't have any other insights into that, but that coupled with the underperformance, if you will, the relative value trade that you're just referencing, probably both variables in a decision like this.
The yield aspect is interesting as well, but of course you have to. Yield is only great as long as the underlying asset isn't continuing to grind down, which meant the ETH Bitcoin ratio just does not look great on a longer term time horizon. Looking at it here live, Saylor and Tom Lee still chomping at the bit. So Saylor made his lowest average buy in quite some time. I shared it here this morning. I'll pull up the exact numbers here. What did we have? They bought 168 million at 67.7 average. So still a bit on the higher end, but not the peak high. And now their overall average is 76K. So he's still down a little over 10% on average across the portfolio. And then I think Tom Lee bought like 68 million or so. I'll have to look at the exact numbers.
I'm seeing down about 12%, 6.4 billion via Saylor Tracker. I think that's real time. It looks like it's fluctuating. So not great.
Do we have the Tom Lee numbers live here, Logie? Just rattling through these. Let's see.
I thought I saw 91 million that they bought. I don't have it.
Had the update from the team at least here. Just pull it up. 10.7 billion total. holding 4.37 million ETH, still have their stake in Mr. Beast. 670 million in cash. So they're keeping their cash pile. I think that's higher than it was last week. So they're adding cash. So still fairly liquid. I think Frocat just released his second interview with Tom. I have not had a chance to dig into that one. We'll be curious if there's any insights from that. But
yeah, the drops tab thing, which I'm not sure is up to date with this most recent purchase, has them down about 8 billion right now, which seems to jive with the analysis that I had done. It's really difficult the cost basis stuff is tough because they don't report it every week like Sailor does. So we had to backtrack based on a November 30th filing, and then each individual purchase since that time. But that seems to be around the right number.
Bitmine stock down 60% from all-time high, a little more than that, which is basically in line with ETH.
Yeah, this is exact. I mean, that big spike, that July spike that you're showing there, that was like day one, basically, or the first few days of the announcement that they were transitioning, from mining to an ETH treasury strategy, and it's retraced it all at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
it all back.
I don't even really count that as more, but like the all-time highs in August and then through October, closer to the 60, 62 range. Tom Lee says crypto sentiment is as poor as 2018 and 2022 bottoms. Yeah, hard to argue with that. Certainly feels that way, and I think some are pointing to the DAT's actions as perhaps a driver of that. In lighter headlines from the weekend, Pokemon card, $16.5 million. Set a smashing new record. So Logan Paul, he pulled off the trade. He bought it for $5.275 million back in 2021. So 3x to $5 million bet in 5 years. Pretty impressive. And then it was Anthony Scaramucci's son who bought it, right? Logan, do you have a chance to dig into this one much at all?
Yeah, I was actually following this a little bit last week because I wrote up one of the Myriad markets, which had seen a flip in the odds. The line over at Myriad was would it sell for more than 9 million? And around last Thursday when I wrote that, people were on the no side. Prior to Thursday, they were on the yes side. So of course, some dramatic, I should say, flips of the market and the odds there for how high this would go. I mean, the bids were at like 5.1 million coming into the last day, I think. And then, things of course get wild towards the end of the market, towards the end of the auction, of course. I don't think this means too much. This feels like more of like a stunty type, celebrity type, splash, make headlines thing than, some like inflection point for collectibles or anything like that. I don't know that this permeates its way into CryptoPunks or anything like that. It feels more just like a splashy celebrity type thing. I would love for it. I'd love to talk myself into it being good for NFTs or something, but I don't see that being the case.
Wild sale. There's some other history to this too, right? And I guess I don't have the full handle on this, but he being Logan Paul, he did fractionalize this through this liquid marketplace, but then that marketplace went offline. So it's unclear, I guess, if the fractional owners are going to get any of the proceeds of this. And I'm not sure exactly when the platform went down, if that means he bought the shares back or exactly how he left that situation. I think there is a lawsuit already pending tied to it. So perhaps more to come on the fractionalization of this card. But man, heck of a return there. And I've also seen the comparison to that rare NFT bought for 625,000. It wasn't Azuki. It was, what was the other collection that was Azuki like?
Only Force.
Only Force. Yes. He bought the Only Force for 620,000 and it's worth like $600 now. So that bet went the other way.
I just did one of those update articles for Decrypt like a week or two ago about when Bieber bought his ape for like 3 million or some 1.3 million, and now it's worth like $11,000. It's sad.
There's a huge appetite for that content, just to see how down bad we all are. So the highest last sale. Let's find this one. It was probably this one, yeah. So he bought this for 188. We 360. So this one was 366,000. Top offer on it right now is 4,000. So he could sell it now. I'm sure we probably get a little more than that, but not great.
Mando, can I ask, do you still hold any apes as like a nostalgia piece, or are you completely out?
Out of everything.
Didn't tug at the heart enough to maintain one.
I think Obi maybe has one. Maybe. I think he maybe has one. But no, I'm completely out.
Got it.
Well, while we're in NFT land here just for a second, there was a surprising winner. And D-Farmer had shared this one earlier, these Del Mundos. This kind of came out of nowhere. We haven't really seen an NFT pump like this in a while. These things were available below 0.01. You could have gotten these at like 0.004 ETH, which is like $8, $16, something like that. And they went all the way to 0.15. So still not a huge floor by any means, but one of the bigger runs. So a little bit of excitement desperately needed in the NFT sector there. And yeah, unfortunately, the Logan Paul Pokemon sale has not really sparked markets just yet, but we are holding on with bated breath there for that one. Continuing to go through the list here, Vitalik had some interesting commentary on prediction markets. I'm not sure if folks saw this. It kind of got a little buried over the holiday weekend, but he comes out and saying he does not like the current state of prediction markets, called them corpo slop, and a lot of just short-term crypto price bet markets, sports betting, other similar things that have dopamine value, but not any kind of long-term fulfillment or societal information value. And I think that's a fair criticism. From even just from how the narrative has shifted from the truth machine to going more downstream on these. But then he goes out and lays out some more interesting use cases for these. And where he basically goes, is that what do people who want stablecoins ultimately want? They want price to stability. He says, could you use prediction markets to effectively hedge the basket of goods you need on a monthly basis? So you have price indices on all major categories of goods and services that people buy, and then have prediction markets on them, and that it could effectively replace fiat currency. You wouldn't need fiat. You could effectively just be, I guess, paid out in shares of these indices, and then just convert your indices shares for your basket of goods each month. Which I was thinking about, it's a little bit of kind of like a UBI. Like there's a UBI tie-in to this to a degree. Logan, not sure if you saw us had any reactions to his corpo slop comment or his new use case.
So I totally agree. I mean, prediction markets at this point in time are super focused on the short term, on the degenerate stuff. I think everybody's in line with that. I can definitely appreciate the ambition and the idealism here. I think he gives the example of the basket of goods in the article I read from Decrypt. I mean, there's an example too about how you could hedge, particular stocks that you own based on who may be elected, right? If additional regulation or deregulation is expected. Like all those things seem great in practice, and really sharp people are probably going to be putting those types of trades on anyway, right? To try to hedge their bets or decrease risk, whatever the case is. But normal people just are they going to do that? Like, I can't think, I'm not going to do that. Partly because I'm lazy, partly because I don't know what I'm doing. So it just seems like too idealistic in my standpoint. Like I can definitely appreciate it, but I see no way for us to get there really.
I mean, he's a visionary, right? So thinking through something that could be possible in 5 to 10 years using the tech that exists now. It's interesting. Seeing the immediate path, I would agree, is not the easiest. Oh yeah, I forgot the local LLM aspect of it too. So having a local LLM that understands the user's expenses, and they have a personalized basket of prediction market shares, which is in the number of days of your expected future expenses. Certainly a novel way to think about prediction markets. So you're effectively hedging the cost of what you need to survive on a monthly basis via prediction markets. And then you hold that as effectively a form of stablecoin. So instead of being paid in dollars, they're being inflated away. There's a world where you get paid in effectively these indices that you could cash in. So interesting thoughts there from Vitalik. I think perhaps the more interesting is the pushback, right? I think the pushback that he's giving is somewhat indicative of broader pushback on the lean and sports gambling. And now the Polymarket came out last week with 5-minute crypto markets, right? So they're continuing to go downstream, so to speak. And it seems like a growing number of people are perhaps getting fed up a little bit with that.
Yeah, well, that quote, if you scroll down just a little bit, Tyler, there's that, other similar things that have dopamine value, but not any kind of long-term fulfillment or societal information value. Not to speak for Vitalik, but I mean, isn't that the overarching trend that a lot of people are feeling about crypto, right? And how it's lost sort of its initial ideals, and now turned into, or had started to at least turn into, like just this speculative vehicle that is really adding nothing to everybody's daily life. That's what it kind of feels like, right? To a degree.
Well, but then on the flip side, we've got the VC funds that are just investing in tokenized finance, infrastructure, stable coins. Then that's, people are bored with that, right? So you kind of have to pick one of the, choose your fighter, and that one there, Logie. But yeah, I do appreciate where you're going with that one. Going through the rest of the headlines again from a lighter weekend, Steak and Shake continues to pound the table that their Bitcoin acceptance has dramatically boosted their sales. I think that this actually comes at a time where fast food is facing some issues. I think I saw Wendy's is closing a lot of branches, so perhaps there's something to this. Wendy's could have saved their business by simply adding Bitcoin to their currencies. They're accepted. So shout out to Steak and Shake, one of the few remaining Bitcoin bulls in public. We've got Kraken backing the Trump accounts for Wyoming newborns specifically. So if folks haven't seen this yet, if you do have a child under a certain age, you are able to register. You'll get these Trump accounts. The U.S. government's going to give you $1,000 to invest. When the kid's 18, they'll have access to the funds. Kind of like a new, like opposite version of Social Security, which it is a very interesting idea. And Kraken's going to sponsor this for Wyoming. It is unclear if they are going to actually do some kind of a sponsorship match or what exactly their sponsorship entails. A match would be quite interesting. We've already seen wealthy folks, billionaires coming out, like Michael Dell and his wife, saying they're going to do their own version of this to help contribute. So expecting more of that to come, but shout out to Kraken for leaning in there as well. And then there's a little bit of friction is not the right word. A little bit of a hubbub caused by Elon and Nikita Beer over the weekend. So a few weeks back, they introduced their smart cash tags. They're going to lean more into just money on X. I think the actual X money is coming very shortly. And then over the weekend, this is tied to banker Nikita Beer is basically saying that some of the crypto, the aspect of the products that are launching tokens and effectively begging founders more in the AI sector to adopt them has become like a real plague on the site, and that they want to shut all this down, which did lead to a pretty big sell-off in Banker, which had been one of the better performing tokens that we'd had over the last couple of weeks, almost a lone bright spot. So I mean, it's down 50% from local highs, largely on the back. You see the big red candle here, basically from 90 million all the way to 63. So that was a 30% sell-off on the back of Nikita's comments. I think the banker team has come out and put a response. I think they're basically, they understand it. There's also the fact this is kind of terms and conditions thing. It's been frowned upon on X for a while. So it's more of a matter of like how hard will they actually lean into all this. But certainly some FUD. Since then, the banker team has come out with a new live feed. They also introduced this new burn token, which I haven't had a chance to fully wrap my head around. They're gonna be burning some of this burn token tied to the banker new launches as well. So we'll continue to look into that. But basically, the entire banker ecosystem took about a 30 to 40% haircut, which had been one of the higher performing.
Can we just go back and can you just describe what banker is a little bit? Because you've said this a few times, and I don't really know what it is.
Banker is a protocol that allows AI agents to launch tokens, and it has an X integration. So you could actually give it commands on X. So you could say banker bot swap $100 of ETH for $100 of Claude or banker, and it would do it. It would like set up a wallet for you and do the transaction. And
yeah, I remember this. This has been out for a long time, though, right?
It has, yeah. It made a first run back in the original AI boom in late. Well, the hell, that's actually July. Yeah, it had a run back at the end of last year, but one of the few that's actually kind of stuck around and stayed building. And it seemed like, hey, this could be like the perfect fit for the new, Claude bot, OpenClaw, AI 2.0, whatever you want to call it, meta. And they would be well positioned for it. But now, I think broader concerns. What Peter Steinberg, I might be butchering his name, basically came out and said he almost deleted the whole code base for OpenClaw because of crypto folks trying to get him to accept tokens or something of the like. So the FUD between those two sectors continues to grow. There is more than that. It's like the bags token is the one that I think about, where people launch the coin and they just like pester the founder until they accept it, right? Like that is not exactly the model that banker has, but I think there is an aspect to that, which is why they kind of got lumped in to all this.
Didn't Pump just do where you could like set it to somebody's GitHub too? I mean, these are all dicey. I can understand if you're that gentleman or any person who's sort of unwanting and gets all that spam. It feels like spam in some way, right?
Yeah. So we need to end that meta for the sake of all of our backs. Stop launching coins and begging people to accept them so that you can turn a quick profit, because it's a bad look on the entire industry. And then the real runner of the weekend, it was a fairly quiet weekend, but this Punch Monkey token. Logan, this would be right up in your
I know. I saw this a while ago. Not the token, but I saw the little monkey, who I think was ostracized more or less. I don't know the exact backstory. And they gave him that little plush toy and had been hand raising and feeding, I believe. This is on my feed. It fits right in alongside a lot of the other zoo and bird stuff on my feed. So I should have been early to this, but I really was not paying too close attention to the potential meme coin spinoff.
Yeah, you weren't locked in on the
well,
long Valentine's Day weekend.
People just don't care anymore, man. I mean, like National Hippo Day was 2 days ago. Moodang did nothing. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
It's funny you say it. They're actually calling Punch the new Moodang.
Oh, yeah. I love that too much.
I mean, this monkey is super, super cute, but there's so many great things. I mean, I send you them from time to time, like the little baby pygmy falcons that were born not too long ago. I mean, these should have been coins back in my day. They would have been coins, and at least some of them would have risen, above the $1 million mark. Doesn't happen anymore. Good for Punch.
There's no shortage of cute zoo animals. There's just a shortage of able-bodied meme traders.
Exactly.
To pump them up. I do not own any Punch. I missed this one, so this is not a bag pump by any means. Just simply commenting on it. It did run 20 million in a day or so. Went fairly viral. now selling off a bit. So still remains to be seen if this will indeed be the next Mudang. I would say unlikely, but certainly anything is possible here. Just round this out. That was kind of most of the items on my punch list. I was checking in on hype again and looking at the HIP3 stats from last week. They are significantly lower still. So I mean, it's still, I say that asterisk, the numbers are good. They're doing $1 to $1.5 billion in daily volume for their HIP3, which is metals and stocks, but it is down about 50-60% from peak levels. Granted, this was kind of the gold and silver blow off mania days, so perhaps to be expected, but definitely still a trend I'm watching. The other aspect here, so trade XYZ, if you've actually been looking at these numbers, trade XYZ just totally dominates market share. Dream Cash is the number 2 protocol, and Tether just invested in Dream Cash. So I think anytime Paolo and team invest in a protocol, folks start to pay attention. So Dream Cash, similar to Trade XYZ, allows you to use Tether stablecoins for RWA perps, stock perps, metals perps, things in that category. So perhaps a new player to watch, perhaps more liquidity coming into that sector. And then the other story, protocol level story I saw from the weekend is Andre Cronje. He continues to build out Flying Tulip, which is his kind of everything DeFi app. And their public ICO is live. You are able to buy in at a $1 billion valuation. So not cheap by any means. Again, Flying Tulip touted as his full stack DeFi platform. I guess what is interesting about the ICO is that it's got like this perpetual put on it. So all the funds are going into what they're touting as conservative yield strategies. And then if you buy into the ICO, you'll be able to burn those tokens at any time to get your original principal back. So I guess the 10-cent token price, which is $1 billion valuation, does act like a hard floor. So you'll have an ability to potentially capture upside if you think it'll be valued more than $1 billion, but you'll always have the safety net of being able to capture this back, according to their docs and how this is all going to work. So that is an interesting twist. With that being said, the odds of a $1 billion plus FTV are I guess they're higher than I thought. So odds of above 400 million one day after launch, 90%, 76% to be over 800 million, 37% to be over $1 billion. Pretty impressive, actually.
I mean, isn't this really bad if you're raising at $1 billion and nobody believes you're going to be worth $1 billion the next day? Why would anybody buy?
Well, because of the
well, you have the downside, yeah, of course. Still,
I mean, you're raising a good point, but I guess what surprised me here is that just like Infinex just came out at like 100 million, right? And granted, these are not different founding teams, different protocols, but this has been a very brutal market to launch in. So the fact that this thing is still heavily favored to come out over 800 million, I feel like that's pretty significant. So that's making it one of the bigger ICOs to watch here for the near future. I am not participating, but certainly
what's Monad at? The last big ICO.
Mon's hanging out 2.2 billion FTV, and then Mega is 1.4. Perhaps getting. We'll have to check in and see how they're doing on their progress to their token launch here.
Oh, shit.
They had 5 apps the last time I checked in.
Monad's up 32% in the last week. It's kind of random, isn't it? Unless CoinGecko is lying to me. That doesn't look like 32%.
Well, it may have sold off. Yeah, so it went down to, it looks like it was up 30%. Still hanging out over 2 billion seems like a very strong price for kind of the state of things. And then speaking of token, folks are expecting to come out, but perhaps may not get. We got an update out of OpenSea. Probably what folks were necessarily looking for, but or maybe it is. Join us March 30th for a live event. Major updates on what we've been building and where we're headed. The next chapter for OpenSea Sales Up. Someone was replying to one of my old tweets. So OpenSea did come out and say Q1, or they basically confirmed a token for Q1 2026 at one point. March 30th, I guess that gives them a day. So that they could do a major announcement event on the 30th. Token comes March 31st. So maybe indeed is coming. Do we have any timelines on OpenSea? Will OpenSea launch token by? Let's check it out. 12. Oh, markets are only giving it 12% to come out.
Wow.
75% by Q2.
So I just looked up the article that I wrote when I spoke with Devin Finzer last year, CEO of OpenSea, regarding the token announcement. That was in February. It's been like a full year since the foundation, I should say, the OpenSea Foundation unveiled this C token. That's a long play out. I'm not saying that's even wrong for them to do. I just can totally understand why, as a participant, like, has there been one longer than that? I don't actually know. I'm sure there has been, but I guess Monad, technically, probably longer than that. But, like, you know, typically the token announcement is followed shortly thereafter by the token.
Oh, which has been part of the frustration, objectively, right? Is that,
of course, yeah,
they've been talking about it for a while. At the same time, and we've waited this long, I think we want the token launch to be good. So I was actually personally fine with them trying to do what they could to increase metrics, increase profitability. You know,
well, at this point, there's no. I mean, you don't need to rush it out. Like March 31st, if you're not ready, it market's terrible. Whatever, who cares?
Do you want the OpenSea token by March 31st? If this is the market that's going to launch it?
No, not at all. Although I mean, I wouldn't turn down an airdrop of any sort, I don't think, but I don't suspect that my OpenSea airdrop would be worth really anything, probably regardless. Even if the market was ripping, I don't think my OpenSea airdrop would be worth that much. So,
yeah, that's the tricky aspect. Then the longer the new window goes on, anyone who is a heavy 2021 user, you are probably getting diluted a bit by the current user base, which, I mean, of course, you could be a current user as well. But that is the situation. So March 30th, market calendars, folks. The biggest news ever from OpenSea will be coming out. I'm sure we'll talk about more as that approaches. I think that's going to be it for today. We went around the horn. I did see a comment from Mando. Yeet, 1.6 billion. Man, I feel like you guys just hit $1 billion a few weeks back. I'm sure it's been a few months now, but
we said we wanted to hit 2 by June. Because we hit 1 in December, and we were like, and that was, we launched in March, or we launched in April. Mm-hmm. So we were like, look, let's try and do this by June, and that would be like 20% sooner or something like that. But looks, if we keep this up, we'll be hitting it in the spring, I think. Maybe end of the month. Who knows?
How about that?
It has slowed though. I have to say, like, we had a crazy week last week. This week's been a bit more docile. I feel as though the market feels a bit more docile though this week, right? Like, it's gone from everyone looking at prices to just kind of like everyone not doing anything. But
my Twitter feed this weekend was like the most quiet I feel like I can remember. There was a handful of AI stories going around.
Yeah.
Very little.
There's probably not to say. I mean, just as a question for you, like, what are you tweeting about right now?
I struggled this weekend to come up with anything to tweet. And granted, I was like traveling a bit, so I wasn't super locked in by any means, but it's tough.
I find it difficult because it's like you don't know. You can't really like make a trade call right now because we're kind of sitting in no man's land, in my opinion. The market looks like it's about to take a nosedive. So, like, I tried to, I said I thought Monero was like the best one, but even that is slightly down. And it's not like it's gone down a lot as well. It's not like we're dumping. We're just kind of just there. And then on the protocol side, like there is some really interesting stuff happening, but it's not on the coin level. Everything's just chasing AI. I thought about the other day that I might, for Mando Minutes, I may replace the left curve corner section with more like just crypto, macro, AI, because it feels as though if you're looking to make outsized gains, it kind of doesn't feel like it's in coins or NFTs right now. I don't know if you would agree with that. Like, how are you making 10x right now? Somehow it doesn't feel like it's meme coins or like even coins. It kind of feels like people are doing it on Polymarket or they're doing something smart, you know, like rather than just degen.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's right. Although there still are 10x's most days in the trenches, but you have to hit the right coin basically. You can't miss.
Yeah,
there's going to be like 99% bloodbath. So, by no means is it easy. There are still some, but I would tend to agree with your sentiment. But also, like, I mean, it's not, stocks aren't super hot by any means either, right? So it's like understanding these narratives for when the market turns around, I guess.
Yeah, it's not like you can even meme it and be like, oh, fuck, like we're all going to trade metals. It's like, no.
Yeah.
You're just going to sit there and lose money and trade with AI. But
it's tricky time for we could have AI bots create infinite content for us right now. And there's nothing to create content about. The dilemma.
For what it's worth, I've never had more content to potentially utilize. It just has nothing to do with crypto.
Right.
I'm in real life maxing. That's all I'm doing right now.
Logan launched a new maple sap stream over the weekend, so he's got a sap tap on.
We tapped some maple trees in my house. Got the first gallon today. So,
where do you live? I thought you're in New England somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I just moved, but at my home in rural Pennsylvania. Back in my parents' house. Okay. Yeah. So we got a bunch of maple trees there, and then I didn't know maple.
I thought it was only Canada you got maple trees, but good to know. Some Pennsylvania maple.
Yeah, I see a comment. It ain't much, but it's honest work. That's what it was. That's what it is.
It's all we're gonna have left in the AI era is honest work for not much.
I haven't said I'm working incredibly hard. Like I am working insanely hard at the moment, but it is not necessarily about crypto. As in, it's about building a business, and that has a lot of its own complexities. But if I didn't do that, and I was just sitting here looking at the market, I think I would find it tough. So I think it's probably good to have, like, it's healthy to have one foot in, like looking at stuff, and also to be doing something else at the same time during this period. Otherwise, you are literally going to tear your hair out looking at markets. Yeah.
You're going to get chopped up. Now's not the time to be grinding, 5x trades, 10x trades on all these wicks, or grinding the trenches. But keep tabs on things. Understand what Dragonfly is going to put $650 million into.
Yeah, come on, guys. Come on. Tom, see if you're listening to this, let's put some money into you. Let's build this baby.
We know you got it.
We know you got it in there, Tom.
Incredible. Well, on that note, producer Charlie, why don't we do our Yeet spin here for today and go ahead and wrap things up. Tune in tomorrow. Will be away to Wednesday. Today I think it's just more of a normal wheel. Let's give it a go. Let's see who we got. Trundle. All right, Trundle. You won. I don't believe I've called that name out any time lately, so that should be a clean win. Here in the chat saying LFG. All right, Trundle, you have won again. We're not going to spin today. Tune in Friday for our mega Yeet action day. Assuming Farouk is back, he should be. He might be back tomorrow, he said. Today is the big day, I believe, down at Mar-a-Lago, so he might be with us tomorrow. But if not, we will be here. Folks, I want to thank all of our listeners for tuning in today. I want to thank you, Logan and Amanda, for joining as co-hosts. We'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. Till then, go make it a beautiful day. Goodbye.